Okay, cool. I think we can get started. Sonika, Vishnu, meanwhile, if somebody can help admit people who are coming in, that would be great. Um,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. I'm gonna recap over the agenda once again. We're gonna spend like just a couple of minutes, quick intro into People+ai, and then we'll dive deep into what Sonika and Vishnu are working on. Again, quick 5-10 minute brief into the project itself. Um, and then we'll dive into the Q&A, any questions you want to answer, any ideas you want to bounce off of each other. Cool. We also have Aniket from DevFolio here, who will be able to answer any high-level hackathon questions. What we're doing is we're hosting office hours because we think that we can really help um, increase the quality of solutions that come up by giving you time and working with all of you to make sure that all of your doubts, questions, etc., are answered. Because I also think that the submission deadline is also soon. Ankit, that's in a couple of weeks, if I'm not wrong.
The submission deadline?
Yeah.
Yeah, the submission deadline for the first phase of the hackathon is in a multi-phase. First phase is where you have seen all the problem statements. What I'll do is, while Asif is talking, I will also just keep sharing important links async on the chat over here, which will have everything about the timeline, the problem statements. Of course, like I'm assuming like people here are more interested in the People+ai one. So if you want to read more about that, all the description is over there. And yes, the submission deadline is on 2nd October, if I'm not wrong. That's for the first phase. After that, there's going to be a round of shortlisting that happens across all problem statements. And then the top projects from each problem statement are shortlisted for the next phase. And then they receive like a few more days to polish their projects with the help of mentorship. That's how it is.
Got it. Okay. And also, just to give you a mix of, like, give you an idea of the mix of people who are joining in, we have 95% of people who are actually participating in the hackathon. I think about like 15 people who are not participating in the hackathon, and one person who is not working on our problem statement, but on another problem statement. Just a general look at what we're looking at here. Cool. I also just want to say one thing. We are recording this and it will be published. And if you weren't able to join the last office hours that we hosted, some questions were already answered there. I'm sure some of them will repeat here. That's fine too. But if you want to go back and watch that, that's on our YouTube. So you can watch the recording over there. This one will also be published, just FYI. If you want any specific portion of this recording removed, just write to me and I can make sure that happens before this is published today. Cool. Okay. Obviously, we can't do an introduction of everyone here, but I'll try to. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Asif. I co-lead events and community here at People+ai. I have with me Sonika and Vishnu. Aniket, you already just met. Sonika, if you just want to give a quick intro, or if you want to do that later, that's also okay.
I could. Hi, I'm Sonika. I'm a fellow with People+ai, and I anchor the project ConsumeWise that some of you may be working on. I think I'll talk more about it when we talk about projects. Yeah, over to you, Vishnu.
Hello, so I'm Vishnu. I'm also a fellow at People+ai, and I anchor a city AI engine that we are going to discuss about. So, yeah, looking forward to working with you
Cool.
guys.
Okay. I also think we have a couple of our volunteers working on these specific projects on the call. I'm not sure, Sonika, Vishnu, but they will also be able to answer questions if those questions pop up. Cool. Okay. Quick intro. I think most of you might already know we are a nonprofit. People+ai is a nonprofit. We're focused on building population scale AI use cases, aiming for solutions that can impact like millions and even billions in India and beyond. We've been operational for about a year now, and we're at the far end of our first fellowship program. Sonika and Vishnu, like you said, they're fellows at People+ai, and their projects represent two of the main use cases we're focusing on right now, at least with the hackathon. I don't want to give a super long introduction, but anyone like who wants more information about us, let me just show you a quick run through of what you can find on our site. If I can just share my screen. But okay, so this is where you'll be able to find everything that relates to us, which is peopleplus.ai. And you'll find that there's a no more page, which is where we sort of culminate all of our theses and all of the sort of projects that we're working on, right? And for those of you who'd like to read into the specifics of each of these different tracks that we're working on, we've listed down all of these tracks. There's data, model, compute, climate, and some of our media stuff. So the couple of things that we're looking at today is the climate thesis and the smart thesis, right? At least sub-projects within those, which is also something that you can read here. This is publicly available and you can find it on our website. And there's also volunteer links, etc. So essentially, we've culminated everything that you'd like to know into this one document. This is where you can find everything. So I don't want to spend more time here because everything's sort of already here. But that's what you should do. I'll drop a link here on the chat for the same. But I'll let Sonika start with her part of the thing. And meanwhile, I think Divya has a question, so I'll jump to that first, and then Sonika, you can take over.
Sure.
Yeah, hi everyone. So actually, your screen is not shared, actually, I think so.
Oh, that's okay. I'll just drop a link. It wasn't yeah, I didn't realize it wasn't sharing, but I'll just drop a link here.
Okay. Should I start? Oh, okay. So I think I have a short presentation. I'll just quickly introduce ConsumeWise to set context for the project. And then I think I'll hand over to Vishnu, and then we can do Q&A combined for both the projects. Okay. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, is my camera screen visible?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to start with was the larger problem that we're trying to solve for the society. What is it that we want to achieve? And that is just simply helping people make more conscious choices and getting more conscious products being produced and consumed. And when we say conscious, it's healthier, more sustainable, and more socially responsible. And right now we're just at a phase where we're testing if just awareness can nudge people to make better choices. So that's the larger sort of purpose of why ConsumeWise exists. So what's the North Star? What do you want to achieve? Is this? These are just some, I just collated these to sort of put together the relevance of the problem that we're facing with the everyday products that we consume. Okay. Before I jump into the current and short term and what's happening, I just want to put out the longer vision as so I'm not sure how familiar the crowd here is with what People+ai does, and Asif spoke about it a little bit of building population scale technologies, but also whatever we build is open source. It's essentially known as digital public infrastructure, and that's how we're fundamentally different from how a startup would approach in solving a problem. So in those, not dwelling too much into it, but the longer 5-year, 10-year vision for this would be like it's a decentralized and open product information system, which mainly democratizes data and the inference of that data. Like that is the larger long-term goal of this, and inferencing is in the domain of health and sustainability. Okay, now coming down to what we're building now at this moment, the current simple use case that we are going after. And this is like, say, the first step just to sort of get into the, just get some validation and see, okay, what works, what doesn't work. We're going after building a very simple smart label reader. And the value prop here, the very, very clear value prop here is just simplifying what the label means and making people understand that what are they actually consuming. And if I were to draw a parallel, if I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with someone known as Food Farmer. He was famously known for busting myths around Bonvita. So something that sort of, he's helping people understand what are they actually consuming. And here, and the current scope of our POC or of our solution is health analysis. Like we're not doing sustainability. We're going after only packaged food products. And our analysis is also restricted to the data points that's available on packaging. This is our current scope of solution. Yeah, like again, I said, but the main challenges or the main like tech problem statements that we identify that need to be solved for is first is data. Like there are very few, there are one or two that we've identified, but there are open sort of data sources available, but there isn't a very like credible or a holistic. Yeah, sure, I'll share the slides. There isn't there isn't a single source of truth as such for even like the data that's available out there. But yeah, so that's the first piece that needs to be solved for. Just creating an open database repository of sorts is also is valuable enough for different people to build on. The second part of this is the analysis, the inferencing bit. From where data will be available is Divya, we're hoping a problem that somebody like we're also figuring that out. I'll get to what we're doing for that. But if you see, that's one problem statement in the hackathon, building for data. The second one, health analysis. So here on our research, we realized that health is very subjective. There are also different schools of thoughts, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So here, the main thing to solve for is these things: how to provide absolute, not subjective, but absolute and scientifically credible sort of analysis and inferencing. What's the best way to do that? And the third problem that we realized is that user centricity in different ways. One way is that so there are apps that exist even today in India that are doing similar things, but like the grocery shopping experience is very like how to sort of get there, meet people where they're making the decision. That's one challenge to solve for. And the other one is like, so India is also diverse, right? It's one is obviously your elite urban English speaking, but otherwise how to sort of reach the mass population. So these are the three sort of our focus areas, and that's what you'll see in the problem statement also. That's what we've defined. Yeah, this I just wanted to touch upon this a little bit. That what does the end solution look like, right? And it can be it doesn't necessarily have to be an app, right? So here there are different approaches that we can take. It's a more open-ended problem statement. Now, if our final user is the end consumer, it has to be ideally an end-to-end solution. All of these things, data analysis, and then finding where are we reaching them, and it could look like a plugin or a bot, or it could be an app, or a third thing that we've not thought of. That's alternatively, we could also be solving for some pieces in this, maybe just for the data piece, maybe for health piece, or like a different whatever. And that could be relevant to different businesses here. And your solution would be in the form of an API or SDK. Yeah, that's something that I wanted to. I also wanted to touch upon currently where we are at, what shape ConsumeWise is in, and what are we doing. We are in the process of building our own proof of concept, and it's a very simple WhatsApp bot that we're going with. Your screen is blocking text. Oh, this thing is visible. Okay, 1 minute. Okay.
I think you can just cross that little window on top. That should be fine.
Is this fine?
No, the screen is not sharing. I think you'll have to reshare.
Okay, sorry.
It's completely fine.
Is this okay?
Yeah, this works perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so our POC right now, it looks like this. Like our data collection, what is happening is initially we're sort of building a manual database, not a very large one. Our aim is 1,000 products. It's in process, and we built a simple OCR reader that's extracting information from images. So we're feeding it images, and it's getting us all of that information. So we'll start with some initial database, and then we'll get consumers to give us pictures of the products that they want to infer on. So that's a data collection strategy at the moment. For the backend, we're simply prompt engineering OpenAI and building a wrapper on top of it. For the prompt engineering, this is where we spend some time in defining analysis frameworks depending on various credible standards and how can it do the analysis. And our current front end looks like a simple WhatsApp bot. We also have two APIs that we can share. One is already shared, the claim checker API. That's one functionality that we built for. And the other one, the OCR reader, is also almost ready. We can share that. We can either we'll figure that out, but that's also available because some people were asking what is currently happening with data. So I said we can share that POC also. So that's, yeah, this is just to sort of sum up the different frameworks that we have designed to prompt engineer AI. And if you see, the analysis is mostly, it can either be nutrition based or ingredient based, or it's a combination of both. I'm not getting too much into it. If anybody is interested, I can explain it later. I also have a doc prepared for this, and I can share this doc where all of this is explained, and the algorithms are also there in that. So I'm happy to share that. This was there in the hackathon problem statement. This is just the video of how the claim checker actually works. In the interest of time, I'm not going to play it, but I just wanted to put it out there that this also exists. And I just wanted to collate the similar solutions that already exist. In India, there are 3 private apps that are doing similar work: Zoom, Shrutin, and Unbox. There is one open database for open food packs for products where you can pull in data from. And this is something I just wanted to sort of, the Nutri-Score, it's based out of Singapore. So it's a public sort of rating system that exists. So yeah, that's about ConsumeWise. I think before we get on to questions, should we move on to Vishnu?
Yeah, let's move on to Vishnu and then take questions together.
Yeah, just a second. Sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. So hello everyone. So I'm going to brief about the City AI engine. So as introduced, I'm Vishnu. I used to be an urban planner. Now I'm working as a fellow at People+ai, trying to see how tech and AI can come in and solve our city problems, especially. Yeah. So what are we trying to solve here is basically, if you look at India as we stand now, we all know our cities are not so great. They are having multitude of problems, but the bigger picture is like we are one of the largest urbanized nations in the world, and like we often, when we tend to look about cities and stuff, we all only look at like the top 5-10 cities and like try to solve for them in a bubble. But in reality, like this is 10-year-old data, but we had 3,784 small towns as or urban centers as distinguished, right? And if you just to give a scale, like for that same data, if you look at the amount of population living in India cities 10 years ago, it is equivalent to the population of the entirety of the USA now. So, and we are really not so equipped to handle the outbreak that is happening, and also what climate change is bringing to us, and also the changing lifestyles and efforts, right? So what causes these issues, right? Especially there is what is the root cause of this issue is basically one of the main problem is there is lack of, or this is a common complaint that there is a lack of data, but I would like to rephrase it as there is data that exists that's always in silos and it's always fragmented. So cities generate an enormous amount of data on a daily basis, right? Like, and it's often with certain departments, certain silos, sometimes not even attributed to department, but sitting in some place, etc. So, and especially when you're taking decisions from planning point of view or well as an administration point of view, these are not based on any sort of data, and that also causes a lot of issues. So, and this is basically like from a utopian perspective, right? How an ideal city would work, if you look at it, it would be like you'll have 3 components: policy, plan, and management. And for all of these to work in synergy, like from the management things, you have to generate a lot of data that will through policy will create proper decisions that will intent cyclically go back and give good management and decisions for your infrastructure and services. So that's basically the problem. But what does the AI engine, City AI engine, actually do, right? essentially, we want to create this framework. Ankit, if you don't mind, can we take all the questions for later? You can just put them in the chat. In the interest of time, sorry for that. But like, yeah, basically, we are creating like a framework that scrapes, synthesizes, visualizes, and analyzes data. So this data could be from multiple sources like PDFs, reports, social media posts. That's up to you, right? Like, and it could also be unstructured information, like one POC we are building where our raw data is just going to be an image. So, and how do we synthesize information out of it so that we can put it in a way that it mirrors some sort of reality, which will help us generate insights. So what are we trying to achieve in the longer run, right? In like 5-10 years down the line, what's the aim of this project? We want to create unified intelligent cities, basically, that are actually smart. And these cities, like, and all the decision making that happens within a city is not some political driven or something. Even if it's political driven, it has a backup of data to it. So, and this data is also to an extent available for citizens. So from a product design perspective, yeah, this is all good, but like, who are we actually building this for? Like, we have 3 major user groups, which are decision makers. This could be your administrators, your municipalities, your governments, and even your consultants that give advisory to the governments. And then citizens, like, can citizens use it to actually know about their city better, or raise better complaints, or be more involved and participated in this thing? And citizen action groups, which are like concentrated citizens, right? Like, basically, these are activists as well as action groups that kind of, you see, are bringing these issues to focus. So what are we trying to build, right? This is from our perspective. What are we doing to show this prototype of like data coming together and forming a digital twin? We are building 2 prototypes. One is called the profiling tool, where what we are trying to do is take reports that are PDFs, which are extremely long, like 200-250 pages, and with simple open geospatial repositories that are available, we are using LLMs to basically synthesize all of this data into spatial data. Like, for example, here there could be one page in page number 20, there could be information about population, and in page number 80, there could be information about schools. So can we just ask the chatbot to say, hey, what are the number of schools in this area? And then it correlates with the population and creates a GeoJSON that could be immediately visualized on a map. So regarding this, we also have this Loom. I'll share this deck here, so you can go to the Loom and see the prototype that we have in action. So this will enable us to put any PDF that is an administrator. It could be a budget, an action plan, a sanitation report, or anything that is a government release report, and we can sort of visualize everything that is inside it in a map. And the second prototype that we are trying to work on is called the Vision Intelligence tool, where essentially, like, we know that problems exist in the city visually, right? Like, we see there is garbage collected in an area, or we see like potholes or bad footpaths or anything like that. We took footpath as an example to prototype this. For example, you can go, basically, we wanted to crowdsource this imagery so that like people can go click footpaths, and we will give it to a VLM model to rank it in a certain perspective and create an index, right? Like one photograph based on multiple parameters like footpath quality, pavement, lighting, comfort, safety, etc. And then all of this, it will collate a score of 0 to 100 and then try to put it on a map. So this way, when we open source this tool, people can actually go on clicking pictures about their footpaths, about their services, anything. And you can essentially create spatially, like where there are good footpaths or where there are bad footpaths, roads, where is good service quality, etc. So this is very low effort way, as well as citizens can also be involved in this thing. So these are the POCs that we are working on People+ai. So anyway, Other than that, you can contribute, especially in three major problem statements that we have identified, which is data integration, crowdsourcing information, and visualization. Right? How do you integrate diverse data sources? It could be images, video, satellite imagery, even newspaper articles, geos. Feel free to pick some sort of unstructured data and try if you could give it if you could leverage AI to give it structure and easy information access, that would be great. And other problem statement is how do we help crowdsource information, because there's a lot of data that's just lying around there and people are like, for example, Google Maps is all crowdsourced with minimal incentives, but still it took on. So can we do something like that? Can we bring somewhere where you give a citizen very less work and AI will do the heavy lifting? And can we do visualization and analysis in a way that it's very intuitive, so that it's not a learning curve for decision makers or well as citizens, so that you don't overwhelm them with jargon or everything, so but they can easily play around with the data. So some of the examples of what you can build are like are given here. Either they could be data integration solutions to synthesize sources, tools to break silos, or develop predictive models with existing data, build algorithms, etc. Or that you could build crowdsourcing platforms or visualization platforms as well. So yeah, I think that is basically from my side. You can find more about the project here. We in our People+ai projects, and there's a GitHub that is already available to see the code that we are already built. I'll share this slide in here, but yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you, guys, and we're open to questions now.
Cool. I'm just going to quickly, because you've had a bunch of activity on the chat.
Oh,
Basically, two questions that's primarily popping up. One is the data question, which I think Sonika is answering actively. And also, Aniket, if you can take a look at one question that Divya had, which was, what is the end solution? Is it a prototype or it's full? It's like a full application, right? If you can just jump into that, and Sonika, because I think your answer is going to be longer. I think it will be very helpful for the entire group here to have the data answer sort of.
Yeah.
Aniket, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm just looking for the question, and is it just a prototype or it's a full application? That's a fair question, Divya. Of course, in a course of a hackathon within a month, it's a bit difficult to build out an entire end-to-end solution, which is battle tested and everything. So, of course, that is not something we are expecting. Although we are looking for a very promising prototype, it should at least which is exactly what POC is, your proof of concept, where whatever you have written that it can do is what it is actually doing. We need to see it working. While yes, you will be submitting video demos, but it's a big green flag for any judge to be able to use your project by themselves, right? And whatever they are reading is what is happening. So we'll recommend that whatever you put in the project submission in the description is exactly what is working. I think there are a couple of fields regarding what is in scope, what is future scope, and all these things in the submission fields. So feel free to add your future thoughts over there. But yeah, again, just a big disclaimer: this is not an ideathon; it's a hackathon. So at the end of the day, we still need a working prototype, but of course not a full-fledged, built-out, scaled application. I hope that helps for everyone in general as well.
Thank you, Aniket. Also, Aniket, I think it might be helpful if you have a guidelines link or something. I'm sure there's somewhere submission guidelines are documented. If there's a link specific for that, I think that would be great. Otherwise, I think it should be on the Devfolio page anyway.
Yeah, it's on the Devfolio page. What you can do is just go ahead and just go to your main dashboard. I can just quickly link the dashboard. Devfolio.co/Google.
Yeah, Divya, meanwhile, you want to go ahead with your question? I can see your hand is raised.
Here you can, yeah, this is just quickly completing. So this is the link to the dashboard where you'll be submitting the project. Just click on start submission and you will just see all the fields. So I would recommend everyone going through the fields not right now, but today itself, so that till 2nd October you are anticipating what are the things that you need to add. So I hope that helps.
Okay, Divya, you want to go?
Yeah, I was having a question what we need to submit in the prototype, whether we need to submit the front end code, back end code, and what.
So I can answer that. I think at least for
But all
ConsumeWise, I don't know about
need to
all
submit in
problem
the prototype.
statements. Sorry, am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah. Google Hackathon. Yeah, yeah.
So at least if for ConsumeWise, the way we structure the problem statements, if you see, we've broken it down into 3 problem statements. So it depends on what are you trying to solve for. If it's like now I have someone who's sort of working on the whole end-to-end app, and that person is building an app, and that is for consumer. There is someone else who's also just working on the database and figuring out what's the best way to be collecting and storing that data. So it's that way you can or you can figure out a way that, okay, you want to get into understanding how can it the best way to be inferencing information, all of that. So it can be either. It can be, if it's just the backend and they have to be accessible through an API, we'll have to figure that out. But it can be a piece of the solution, or it can be the whole solution end to end. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Like I was still confused, like because in the prototype we have to submit a GitHub code also, like
Aniket, you will have to.
GitHub link.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. Could you please repeat? Sorry about that.
In the prototype, we have to submit on 2nd October. Do we need to submit a GitHub link also? Like GitHub?
Yes. If you go to the fields on the dashboard I just sent, we explicitly ask for the source code link, and it needs to be public.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Cool. There are a couple of questions on the chat. We'll go to that first. Vishnu, can you take a look at Aranya's question?
Yes. I was about to type that. I'll just answer it. Yeah. Aranya, basically, yes, the CCTV one that you're talking about is a valid solution. Like, generally, in everybody, I'm saying to this, like anything that could help improve quality of life of any city service is encouraged in this solution. We are not restricting you to certain type of service or anything. But yeah. How can we test drive their current prototype? I think we need to like actually have a deep dive on like what exactly is that you're trying to build and how does it plug into our prototype. But if you can create one, that would be great. And one thing I want to say about the edge-based / cloud-based thing is like most of the IoT devices, even with smart command control rooms that are deployed in like cities like Indore, etc., where I have visited and spoke to them. One of the major issues is because all the analysis happens at edge thing, and they're not very much interoperable, right? And because they are investing on the their purpose-built infrastructure, and they only want some specific sort of, like, for example, if you are using CCTV to monitor traffic, they only monitor traffic and nothing else. So, like, even what can you do? One more thing that would enhance that quality of data as well. And if do you want it to be cloud-based or edge-based, that is completely up to you and your solution. And your solution that says like centralized servers for processing or something actually sounds like a good one, as long as it's actually working, as well as it doesn't really interfere with PII, like while you're taking information like from privacy perspective as well. As long as you're not having much PII involved, I think it should be fine. But yeah, any more questions regarding that, Aranya, or did I answer yours?
Okay, I think that's good. Let's go to Myrish. He had his hand up.
Okay, hi. Thank you, guys. I just didn't want to type this because this might sound like a very open-ended question. But if I look at the problem statements, I think the crux of this is around data, structuring of data, using AI to build, certain algorithms that are going to simplify complexities and all that sort of a stuff. And it also seems like, since this is a hackathon, some code has to be submitted, while as the real work may not necessarily be about coding. For example, if I look at ConsumeWise, we work on AI, maybe building or fine tuning something based on product data. And I can probably partner with somebody who can just build a bot, right? Where the bot is just a channel, WhatsApp, IVR, all of that. So in which case, it seems like from a hackathon perspective, what needs to be submitted need not be in the form of code. And in fact, we have a bot platform, and my interest in this was to actually look at solving a complex AI problem, whereas our whatever platform just becomes something that me or anybody else could use. So is that sort of okay, or we are off from the intent point of view of this hackathon?
No, I think it's a bunch of things. So you're saying that I actually didn't fully understand that what would you actually be solving for? Like,
Say, for example, let's take health analysis, right? So imagine
hmm,
that from ONDC, I bring in a bunch of screenshots around products. And maybe if you have some data, so I'll work with that data. Now, the real problem for me is to use AI to essentially see how I can structure these images and the captured data and build meaningful insights and then make them available over a WhatsApp bot. You may already have a POC, right? But rather
hmm,
than me having to now write the WhatsApp or IVR or a web bot solution, I would want to focus on the health
yeah,
analysis, which is what the AI is
yes,
supposed to do. In which case, there is going to be rarely any code, or maybe you will have just a Jupyter Python playbook to go through that, right? To just kind of stitch it end to end, maybe. But I mean, I just wanted to confirm that this is the
yeah,
right way to approach this
yeah.
hackathon, because then there is no code to submit, really. I mean, I'm just stitching things
Uh,
together. The real work is in trying out different ways and coming up with a data structure which will get me insights.
yeah. I mean, from like a consume at least. So Aniket will have to answer part of this, but at least from a consumer's point of view, if you just find a way to like right. But from my what I understood, you want to focus on using AI to break down the data and provide the analysis. And if that's the only piece that you want to focus on, that's good with us. Because if somebody else could be working on data and your focus is how you're using AI to unpack the health information, it can be plugged and fit into our WhatsApp bot also. Like that's fine.
Correct.
So I am good with this, like, at least from a consumer's perspective, yes. Uh, Aniket, are you there? I think he said be right back.
No, I don't think he's on call right now, but let's come back to this also.
Yeah,
Okay.
at least from this end, it's good. If they have any specific sort of guidelines on if there needs to be any code submitted, let's just go to double check.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marish. Let's go to Ria next and then Abhishek.
Yes, hello. So I had a question on ConsumeWise from statement. So first of all, I want to clarify what we are trying to build. So right now, it is all manual, right? The database that you are building is manual, and we would like to automate it. Is that what we are looking forward to?
If we can find a way to have data be collected that's relevant and updated and like a large data set. Right now, what we're doing is we have a POC build where we can extract the relevant information that we want in the correct way from images or image links is what we're giving it.
Mhm.
So we're trying scraping all of these image links or manually both of that we're doing, but that's how we're getting our data.
All right. And then the problem statement is that can we automate this for so that we can ensure accuracy as well, because manual process obviously is definitely much more accurate. So I think the major problem over here is the accuracy part.
Yeah, accuracy part. And if suppose like say if an open repository of this has to exist of products and their information,
Mhm.
what would be an ideal system for that to have? Like that's the larger problem statement. Like that's where we want to get to. How can
Uh,
we approach that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat this part?
So see the larger goal that we want to reach to is that it is a system where it is an open repository of products, of product
Yes.
information. Whatever information is available on the packaging, not over than that, but still there isn't a very credible source of information that's available out there.
Mhm.
So how can we have a system that does that for us? From where the information is coming, how is it stored, all of that.
All right. And another question that I had is that in the problem statement, it mentions that this data layer, the basic data layer that we are scraping, this can be augmented and we can add information. So is there anything that we are currently doing right now for this part?
No, we're not. Currently, we're not. And that's why the problem part of because right now it's very basic. So we're just doing basic cleaning. But anything beyond that is not happening.
All right. And
So how
are
can we make the
there
database more useful?
Yes, I got your point. And is there anything that we can does anyone have any vision that we can look forward to this in this part?
Yes, someone from the team does. I don't handle that part. We can talk on that separately. I can connect you to that person.
Okay. And how can I get connected?
I'm just dropping Sonika's email address on the chat. You can just email her and she'll put you in touch.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ria.
Thanks, Ria. Let's move to Abhishek. You're on mute, Abhishek.
My question is to Vishnu. My first question is like the GitHub code that we have submitted. We have to build on top of that, or we can write our own code.
No, you can write your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second question is that working on the visual maps only will work, or we have to work on the whole city AI?
No, it's so as long as it is plugging into the themes of what we are trying to work, right? It is fine. It could be just a visualization dashboard or something that you can independently build. And like, again, we are also looking at multiple innovative solutions that we are still figuring this out, right? So anything that you are working on innovatively is great. Like we are not restricting you to use the pipelines or these things that we are developing, but as long as it is aligned to the objectives of the project, it's fine.
How many people are working on the visual maps part right
now? For the hackathon or for internally, like?
Overall, just for the hackathon.
Internally, we have a team working on both the prototypes. So both of them are going to have a similar mapping interface. But yeah, from the hackathon, we still...
From the hackathon front, we don't have visibility on how many people are working on our problem statements.
So your solutions can be anything, yeah.
Okay, and my question is like, how would you select one? Let's say, for example, 5 people build the same project of visual maps. Okay, so how will you select one out of that? Like,
we will. Yeah.
Sorry, Vishnu. Let me also take that because the judging part is not up to us, right? So we are the ones. Let me set context. People+ai, we submitted a couple of problem statements to the Google Hackathon. Tanuj, Tanuj, who runs People+ai, will be a part of the judge panel. But the criteria upon which these projects will be evaluated is up to Google, and it's on the platform also. It's on the DevFolio platform, if I'm not wrong.
It is. Criteria is all listed down there based on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Any more questions? I think Love also wanted to address Mayuresh's
question.
Sorry, Abhishek.
Yeah. So one question is that, like, in your LLM, or like the data has to be processed through the LLM before appearing in the visual map, or after appearing in the visual map also we can use some part of AI. Okay.
Are you asking, can we do that, or are you doing this? Like currently?
I have 2 solutions. One is the real-time map, which will come from Firebase. Okay, so second by second the data will update. One, but if we use the LLM, the update will come after some time, because LLM, it takes time to process. So the Gemini 1.5 Flash, if we process some kind of data after the map is generated, okay, that could be the second solution. And the first solution is the data map will come after some kind of processing is happening from the LLM.
Both are question. So again, what I have told as an example is just like a POC that we built on these thought process, right? It just evolved, and like it is solving a specific problem, which is like not having data repositories at scale. So that's why we are not very much bothered around real-time updation or stuff like that. But if your problem statement that you are picking is like, if let's just say traffic, which is very much real-time update, if it's not there, there won't be any use. That it could go anywhere. So feel free to choose a path.
Okay, thank you.
Aniket, could you take up Aranyo's question about what percentage of his of their solution should use Google stuff? Aniket, are you there?
I don't think so. I think it's
Okay.
BI.
Aranyo, we'll come back to that after Aniket is back. I don't think he's here right now.
I guess the rules say that you have to use Gemini, like Google's this thing, if I'm not wrong.
Got it. Okay, cool. And I think Love is one of our fellows here at People+ai. I think he also wanted to address a little bit about what Myresh was saying about the end of what Myresh was saying. Love, can you quickly just...
Yeah, so if you see the ConsumeWise problem statement, it's basically using AI to do the data collection and the health analysis. I think that's the core of the problem. And like a no-code solution, you were saying like just the framework, like how it can be done. That's what you were referring.
Myresh, you're on mute.
Yes, Love, by the way, nice to see you again. The way it kind of reaches to the user could still be, I could just partner with some other platform and then simplify that part for me, right? And the core is, again, gathering data and actually doing the analysis. The other part of this is that if I focus on that, there's probably limited code I'll be writing, and there is a lot of iterative process on trying out different approaches. So it's not something that is going to be very code heavy. So I don't know, does that qualify? Because we'll probably submit some approaches and some documents in GitHub than some real code that will integrate with some WhatsApp or something, right? Because we'll use some no-code platform, connect our LLM or Gemini and some other fine-tuned data on it. So I don't know if that qualifies to be a hackathon solution.
I guess the way hackathons are meant to be try different approaches. So in that sense, your approach is right. Like if you can bring a unique approach or you can bring a unique way of doing things, in that sense, it can add a lot of value. Other than if he uses Gemini at some point, then I think it should clarify, like it should qualify.
Okay, and Gemini usage is the only criteria, just as a follow-up question? I mean, Google has a bunch of other tech.
Yeah, so it was basically from the Discord server and quoting, but yeah, Aniket may be able to answer.
Fair enough. Fair enough, I can look it up. Thanks.
Cool. Also, coming back to Divya's question, is it... I know that Sonika already said that we are using BigBasket and scraping a bunch of these e-commerce websites for data, right? But other than that, there's nothing that we're using currently.
No, there is one called Open Food Facts. If you want to use that, we found that the most credible, but we couldn't successfully. Like some parts is there on the page, some parts is there on the images. We didn't find it to be very conducive for large exhaustive databases. Apart from that, no, we didn't find anything relevant on Kaggle. But we could have missed it. So this is our approach. Yeah. Please feel free to use something else.
Yeah, and this is also why data is one problem statement that we have for consumers, right? It's the big problem that we need to solve. I mean, it's one of the big problems that we need to solve. But yeah, Divya, those are the data sources that we're currently using. But maybe that's not the best way. Maybe you have a better idea, etc. But it's still a very open problem to solve. Any more questions? The only open question that I see right now which hasn't been answered is the percentage of Google stuff that must be used. I'm not sure how many of you are on the Discord for the GenAI hackathon, but I will try and share that link with you if I can find it right now. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please drop it. I'm just going to go hunt for this link where you can follow up on high-level questions like this. Obviously, for problem statement related questions, especially problem statements related to People+ai questions, we are the best people to reach out to. And you have Sonika's and Vishnu's email addresses.
Not a question, but just actually, hi Sonika. Me and Ria were working on the ConsumeWise problem statement together for this hackathon, and I just dropped you a quick email. Hi.
Okay.
So yeah, would love to discuss some of this areas with you.
Yes, looking forward to hearing. Thank you.
Any recommendations or
So we're talking to something known as Glyphic. Let me share that link. We haven't started work with them, so I don't know how that is. But I think they're specifically for NGO. Let me.
I think Love might have some answers on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
It's on the chat. Basically, Aranya was asking if there's any recommendations for piloting a WhatsApp
And there's
chatbot
also
for
GUI,
free or low
but
cost.
that's not scale. Like it's first.
Okay,
It's not like
recommendation
it's not very scalable.
chatbot for
For
free or
testing. Love, you're on. We can't hear you.
Meta.
Sonika, we can hear Love. I think your speaker's off or something.
We still can't hear you. Is it just me?
Love, I think we were all speaking over each other. So if you want to repeat what you were saying.
Okay, so for WhatsApp chatbot, if you want, you can use the Meta developer, like their API directly. I think they offer 100 in the free conversation in the first free tier. But there are various categories. I think it's 0.1 paisa per message, and there is a 24-hour window. After first message, it's 24-hour window. You can have like a fixed number of messages that will be free of cost. The way their business API works. Other than that, in low cost, there are, I think, GUI. You can try GUI.ai. Like if you create an account on that, and it will give you 500 credits, which is good for some conversation. So Glyphic, yeah, Glyphic is also there. GUI, yes, these are good options.
I hope that answers your question, Aranya. Sonika, can you share this link again for the Google Slides? I don't know if Sonika can hear us.
Yeah. I can. Google Slides I'm sharing. And I think someone asked for the open food patch link also. I did that. And I'm sharing Google Slides. Yeah.
Okay.
Onmai has a question.
We use YouTube and other public videos for experimentation. I don't think that would violate any PII as long as you're not extracting like number plate information from it or something like that. But like it depends on what are you using it for, and as long as that data is, as you're saying, like it's publicly put on YouTube by somebody, right? So it should not come up under legal crossroads. I mean, it depends on the data you are using, but yeah, I think it should not be a concern.
I do think that I am not very clear on this, but I do think that YouTube's own terms of service prevents you from using YouTube data to train models. I'm not sure about that, but it's a very legal question.
Big regarding that, but yeah.
I've dropped the link to the Discord server here. So if you have any questions, you can drop it there too. And we should be able to answer them, especially, yes, I think Myresh answered that question. YouTube does not allow to use data to train.
Yes, but
yeah,
if companies do that, But yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole.
Yes. Okay.
Hi, I had a quick question. This is Ranjani. So, for the consume-wise problem, to use the label reader from products and suggest better options or to reconsider what they have opted for, is there a chatbot or something that is deployed already by consume-wise, and we have to add on top of how to or suggest some better ways of influencing the user's choice, or is it something that we have to build from scratch?
So our WhatsApp, this thing is currently under construction. So it's not built yet. If you would like to know more on what we're building, I can share that with you. If you just reach out with me on mail. If you're looking to build on top of that, so that is if in case you want to take that approach, or if you want to build something separately, that is also up to you. But in case you want to build something on top of it, we can connect.
Sure. I'll connect with you, Shonika. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we have 2 minutes to go. I just want to once again remind everyone that the recording of this entire thing will be put up online. So if anyone wants to go rewatch it, and also the previous one is also on YouTube. So you'll be able to find that on our channel, which is People+ai. You should be able to easily find it on YouTube. And it will be titled Office Hours. We'll be doing one more of this. I mean, at least as of now, one more of this next week. Same time, we'll put up a Luma link, and you should all get notified. So if you'd like to come in again, brainstorm, help answer each other's questions, or want us to answer questions, we will be there. Aniket, now that you're back, one question that everyone was having was what percentage of Gemini, etc., should we be using in the solutions? Can we use other providers also? Is one question that a lot of people had.
Sorry, I just had like an emergency, so I had to like just quickly step out. Now that I'm back, I think like the answer to this question is, if you go to the I think I linked it. Let me share the link again for visibility. If you go to the get started here section, I'm just linking it again. It's in the chat now. So you can see like there are various tools where you are getting credits for, that is Vertex AI, like Gemini itself. So and like of course, like making these solutions under AI Studio and everything. So yes, since this is like a Google Gemini hackathon, ideally the solutions will have to be built using either of these. But yeah, you still have like some flexibility, but it has to be within like anything that is in the resources section. So I hope that works.
Cool. I think that was Aranyo who had that question. Yeah.
Can I also we didn't fully clarify Mayuresh's part. So I think Aniket,
yes,
Mayuresh was saying that for ConsumeWise, he just wanted to sort of work on the health inferencing piece, and that would look like more like working with AI rather than it be like less on code. Does that still work from a hackathon point of view, even if it's not very heavy on code or maybe like no code, but like more working with AI, sort of trying to get it to get to a good inferencing of health sustainability? Like, does that also work, qualify?
Could you please repeat? I think I didn't really follow up on the question.
You're on mute, Mayuresh.
Thank you, Sonika, for bringing it up. I'll probably add a little bit more there. So, like she was saying, for a ConsumeWise, let's say we want to focus on the AI part of the problem, right? How do you bring data in, and what do you really do with the data to bring insights out that are more meaningful, rather than the end-to-end part of actually having a bot or some kind of a web UI or a WhatsApp UI into it, because there are a lot of platforms that already allow you to do that, right? You can connect an LLM to those. So in which case, the work that I would be doing is less of code and more of either data training, fine tuning, or prompt engineering and all of that stuff, right? And Of course, all those things in some form can be submitted using GitHub, but there is very little code in here, right? Because we are just joining pieces.
Right.
In which case, would that still be a fair submission from a hackathon perspective? Maybe not from a, I mean, not necessarily from a challenge perspective. I think it probably is okay.
Yeah.
From a hackathon perspective, is that qualified to be a good solution?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, not necessarily all great products need to have like tens and thousands of lines of code in it. I think like if you're using like multiple tools to get the work done, I think that should be fine. And yeah, I think like as per your like what you have mentioned, I think like most of your code would probably just be like injecting things from one place to another, like taking the response from the AI, putting it to the bot, and then like creating conversations. Just the middleware is where I think the code would be coming in. So I think like that should be fine. Like that shouldn't be a problem. And let's say if you have multiple repositories, like one could be for the bot, another could be for the for the AI code itself. So I think you can just make it into an organization and submit the entire this thing as well.
Yeah.
But
So for
ideally,
example,
individual repos are better. But yes.
yeah. So let's say I want to build a user no code platform, or maybe something like GUI, and we have something that is in-house, but it's proprietary, or whatever it may be, right? Think of it as a partner platform that I want to connect it to be able to stitch this solution together. Obviously, there's nothing I can share about that from a source code point of view. So I'll share the integration points.
Yeah.
That also is going to be like a glue code, more or less. And the real stuff, which is all about, how the AI is built, maybe we fine-tuned it, and whatever that was done, that could be shared. So
yeah, I think as long as there's a usable solution at the end of the day, which the judges are like, it is deployed somewhere, judges are able to use it themselves. Things like that, I think, is what counts.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how a judge usually approaches this is they will first use the solution and then go to the code and see like, how is it working exactly. And the reason for also making the GitHub public is just simply doing plagiarism checks.
Fair enough. I can understand why that is important.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, I think we are at the end of time. I mean, we're 5 minutes over time, but I think we are also done with questions, so we should be fine. If nobody else has anything else to bring up, I think we'll end this and we will meet next week, same time. I think I'll take people leaving as a cue for no more questions. But thank you for everyone coming and spending this 1 hour with us. I hope, and also best of luck for the hackathon. We'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you guys. Excited to see the solutions.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. All the best.
Thanks.